나무 묘호랭개교 나무 묘호랭개교 나무 묘호랭개교. Hello, everybody. I hope that you're in good health and secure. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I have a lot of things I want to talk about today, swirling in my head. And whenever that happens, as much as, boy, I like to talk about what's on my mind, I don't like to hang on to it. I'm always afraid I'm going to forget something. You ever feel that way? But what I want to talk about, and I'm going to do two videos today. I'm going to do a Q&A. We're almost at the end of March, so I'm going to do a Q&A based on a bunch of comments and emails that have been sent to me. And the more I think about them, the more they're really about the same thing. And oddly enough, everything we've been going through this Go show of the teachings approved by all Buddhas really has been talking about. But there's this, see, I'm going to mix the two up now, but maybe that's appropriate. I'm going to say this and it's going to sound like a fact, but I don't mean it that way. I'm just trying to set up the situation to get our minds right around what we're doing here. I try my best as we together read through these Go show to personalize it, to give it context, to give it operability. But damned if we don't take our samsaric mind and compartmentalize everything we read, study, and I'm not complaining about how you're hearing me. We all do this. We read these documents and we go, and then the moment we walk away, we go, but then there's my life. And that's so different. And it doesn't, look, I got 20, 30 years ago. Yeah, a good 30 years ago, maybe longer. I had made an appointment with the head monk, the abbot of a temple in Southern California for guidance. I was struggling. I was practicing fervently night and day, morning gongyo, evening gongyo, full gongyos, chanting as much as I could during the day. But I was having these troubles in my daily life that I couldn't seem to operate. I couldn't get around them. I couldn't make changes in them. My perception was that my daily life wasn't mirroring what I thought was an excellent practice. I was exemplary. I led gongos with large community centers. And always got compliment. Man, that was the best gongyo I ever did. Your pronunciation, you're this, you're that, all kinds of kudos, right? And so, I mean, my practice was fully engaged and practicing well, all of that, right? And yet in my life, I couldn't seem to be an effective communicator. I couldn't seem to change what I perceived were impasses in relationships. It's always relationships, isn't it? Whether it's with a boss or a sibling or a loved one, whatever. It's always a freaking relationship where we go, look at all this. I can't fix it. I can't make it better. I try shakabuku and it makes it worse, and so on and so forth. And so I went with a senior advisor and met with the abbot of this temple. And he didn't even say in response to me, and I asked him like 3 different ways. And his response was one word. One sentence, I should say. It wasn't even a complete sentence. He listened, and he looked very generous, and And then when he felt like the awkward silence was long enough so that I guess he felt like it was his turn to speak, he looked right at me and he said, Myoho Renge Kyo. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. And then he nodded like, you get it? You get it? And I'm sorry I sound dismissive, but it really pissed me off. I was so sick of hearing that from everyone I practice with, the community of individuals, all the way on up to headquarters. I was working at the headquarters on a big exhibit. I mean, I was around very senior leadership in this group. And what I kept getting was chant. And I got really pissed off. I went to the freaking temple and talked to the guy who runs the place, and he doesn't give me a moment's consideration of what I'm talking about. Deep relationships with Father and other men and tendencies that I saw in my life, and how do I get around this? How do I break through this? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I said, damn it, you too? And now in retrospect, this is one of the things I'm always concerned about conveying. And I think there's something deeply human about our practice that doesn't get discussed enough, and maybe I'm guilty of it as well. And Nichiren talks about this. And he did a whole go show about it. But the more I think about it, the more I see it in each one of these go shows, and I'm seeing it a lot in the go show. But what's missing? Where's the disconnect? And I think as human beings, we just need a sense of palpable human compassion. We just need to feel heard. Yes, it's an attachment. Yes, it's an obsession. Yes, it's all of the things that we talk about constantly in Buddhism. And yet, with a straight face and a clear mind, human mind, we can look to our mentors, our seniors, our whatever, sponsors, our senior monks, and say, okay, I understand all that, but look at my life. How do I make it work here? And I'm telling you, you already know the answer. The problem isn't that Buddhism doesn't work in your life or that you don't know how to integrate it. The problem is that your craving and your clinging and your attachment, my attachments to those issues that I see so clearly are issues that I see so clearly, but I don't see clearly that my Buddha, my practice, is not the problem. It is my adherence, my stubborn, very ingrained adherence to the problem. It's not, look, it's not that the problem doesn't exist. It's that you're not seeing past it. I still do that. After over 40 years of study and practice, I catch myself in problems trying to fix them. The fix is in. It's just so hard for us fundamentally to have confidence in it. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. No matter how much we want to fix things, the most powerful thing we can do in samsara, in our human relationships, is offer acceptance, offer love, offer influence. The idea that we can change things is the obstacle. Do you see where this is fundamental now? So listen with that kind of ear as we complete today's video on this continuing study of the teaching approved by all Buddhas. It's not called that because it's a college class and the Buddhas are the high professors and they say, good work. It's called that because all the Buddhas are you and I. And this is the teaching that works. You have to have confidence that your practice pushes out Buddha from you as the center. You have to have the confidence that your influence is tangible, but that you have no idea what that looks like outside of your samsaric mind. You see, we chant, and I still don't know at this point which video this is going to be, because I really want to read this Gosho. Nichiren's Gosho on earthly desires are enlightenment is probably one of the most repeated titles and commensurately, not commensurately, or congruently, completely misunderstood. And I can point fingers at groups, organizations, whatever. If you really read and use several translations, and you'll see earthly desires are enlightenment is not about, in fact, I've read translations where it's earthly desires, what's the other, are themselves the basis of enlightenment. You could say it a lot of different ways. But what it absolutely does not mean is that by focusing on our earthly desires, we can attain Buddha. That is absolutely, completely contradictory to that Gosho. And yet, it's so appealing to think of it that way, because that's what we are, craving machines. And when we're not getting along with a person, when a relationship isn't working or going ballistic or nothing but an argument fest, or when we're feeling hurt or nothing's working out in our lives, we see this contradiction in our human existence, and we want to blame the practice for either not working, or that it isn't being taught properly, or that we just can't, it doesn't work for us. We translate our problems into desires. If only this, then that would take care of itself. That's all samsaric. That's all our human mind, our monkeys trying to make sense and trying to come up with answers, all the while avoiding the very essential property that destroys all of that discord and brings about resolution all on its own. Whether you know it or not, at this moment, whatever you're struggling with, that struggle is in you. If you let go of that struggle, there will be no struggle. See, that's hard to have confidence in. No, I'm not making this up. This is real. Yeah, it sure is. Listen, I'm not talking down to you. This is not a condescending conversation. I just feel so intimate with you about this very issue. And this comes up sometimes very early in practice. Sometimes people practice for a decade before they come up to this very hard stop. So don't feel, please don't feel attacked by this, or in the least bit lessened by this. This is just, we're all different. Karmically, we're all different, and our attachments are very complex, right? So here's the way I want to reach past that, or try to. If, for instance, and I'll talk about me, remember I said I went to this head monk, this abbot, and the only thing he said to me was, Namo Myo Renge Kyo. And I walked away pissed off. And since that day, I've asked myself many times, well, what did I expect? Right? What could have made things better for me? Because I was so pissed off I quit practicing for a while. I did it. I couldn't stomach it. You're telling me this is the answer, this practice. I practice like a fiend, and it ain't changing nothing. And with perspective and time and return to practice, it occurred to me that I just wanted not just anyone, but this person of respect, somebody who I looked at as a more experienced individual who should be able to guide me. I went there for guidance. I wanted more of a connection. I wanted him to say something daily life relatable that could give me motivation. And I understand glaringly now what I wasn't getting was that go show. Earthly desires are enlightenment. I just wanted to hear, well, maybe you should, instead of dealing with ... look at the situation from a different perspective, and maybe that perspective, in order to get that perspective, chant about that perspective, chant about how to make the situation look different from a different angle. All the while knowing that I already thought all those thoughts, that other people in my environments might have said the very same things. And all of it would lead back to my practice. But he didn't say anything like that. And I might have just walked away from that meeting thinking, well, he doesn't know my situation. What does he know? I'll just chant about it. and made that decision for myself, right? But the fact that he just sat there almost glibly with this silly smile on his face and said, Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Man, I did not want to hear what was eventually, yeah, of course. I just wanted to feel some compassion. He was offering it, but the shortcut he took made me feel like I didn't get what I came for. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think there's a lesson about earthly desires or enlightenment. Because what Nichiren was illustrating is that we are living human beings on this planet. We are in the Saha world. We are in the world of stuff, things, having, possessing. We're born. The moment we come out of the womb, even within the womb, but let's not argue that. As excited as we are and amazed by being here, we immediately create or have anxiety about losing it. We don't even know what we are yet, and already we're fearing loss. Ask yourself why a baby cries. What's a baby got to cry about? It eats, poops, and sleeps. There's not a lot to worry about there. But my stomach's growling. Ah, panic. Oh, food. Okay. Oh, that makes me happy. I can't keep my eyes open. Ah, panic. You just need to sleep. The fear, it's so much a part of being here. So what Nichiren was suggesting is we're just basically big craving want machines. We just make it more and more complex as we get older. Oh, I've had this has happened repeatedly in my life. I can remember when I was 8 years old, this was set up, or that's a natural problem. We've grown with it for decades, and how do I surmount? And every time I open my mouth, it's an explosion. And obviously I don't know the words to speak. I don't know the way to change the situation. And we don't realize that all of that effort and all of that work is just the same thing we've been doing since we were 8 years old. So why, remember the definition of insanity? Trying to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? Ooh, it's a little scary. That's what we do. That's the fear-driven monologue in our heads. Oh, I'm not afraid. I wish I could. Well, the wish is the flip side of the fear. Instead, we need to have more confidence, more resolve. Confidence in the fact that not only is my practice steady, and that I know how to chant and do gongyo and recite, and I understand all the concepts. What you need to have confidence in is that you are radiating a different energy when you're practicing and you course in the world with that wisdom than you are as your craving machine does. And maybe, just maybe, if you just let that happen, the changes you wish you could see will simply just happen. And I know this has happened to you in many other ways, but we don't have confidence in it in every aspect of our life. Why is that? Some karmic energy, remember we're momentum. Some karmic energy is very simply altered, evaporated, blown apart, reversed. But the energies that are 4 billion years old, that are inculcated into our being, think about sailing ships. Think about a little rowboat or a canoe. How easy is it to steer a canoe? That's like shallow karma. And now get a sailboat. Boy, or how big is the sailboat? The larger the sailboat, the more effort it takes to try to go into the wind. Boy, you've got to tack like crazy, right? You go a mile just to go 10 feet because you're going into the wind. Take one of those big oil tankers. You got to reverse the engine and put the brakes on for 10 miles just to slow it down. It takes a lot of effort. And Nietzsche talks about this all the time. Family relationships, filial piety. So earthly desires are enlightenment doesn't mean that you refocused your energy on earthly desires. That's what we're trying to obliterate. That's where all our suffering comes from. So no, redoubling your effort or chanting to your mandala about those earthly desires doesn't do crap. You're just staying embroiling the same problem. But we have a tremendous amount of energy that we put toward the difficulties we feel, mostly in relationships. So Nietzsche says, take that and recognize the amount of energy you're mustering, the amount of focus you're mustering, the amount of effort you're putting into solving this problem. And take that, not the problem, take that motivation, that kind of determination, and redirect it over here to the mandala, to open that door, that gohonzon of your mind, to free yourself from it, to see it through the lens of Buddha, which doesn't see the attachments, the identifications, the distinctions, but rather sees the whole thing as this beautiful dance. Take that energy, turn it into confidence to open your Buddha, meet the Buddha, single-mindedly, words of Nietzsche, meet the Buddha. So that next time you meet that person, or you see your brother or mother or stepfather or stepsister or cousin or employer or workmate, wherever the problem is, and just appreciate them. Even if you want to make it really simple, appreciate them, your situation with them, to have supplied you with the determination to single-mindedly meet Buddha. I guarantee if the next time you interact with whatever your problem is, a bank manager, your mom, whatever, and you truly well up appreciation for them, you may tear up. And if they ask you, what's wrong? What the hell's going on with you now? Yeah. Just, see what I'm doing right now? That's what you do. I just love you. That's all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank me for what? What do you want now? Just laugh. Let them feel you. Let them feel your appreciation. Chant to yourself in that moment. And if you feel any inkling, because everything that comes out of their mouth at that point will feel to you, your earth you, your human you, like a reproach. That's the Dairakute no Mao-ness of attachment. It's going to feel like their very breath is just challenging you. It's not. They're just struggling with understanding why you're so beneficent. Because they're attached to that problem. But you cannot be attached. There's no solution in that. That's just world war. The solution is extrication, liberation. Let them feel the waves of your deep appreciation and love. And if you can't maintain that, don't. Walk away. It was so beautiful to see you again. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Let's get together again soon, okay? What's going on with you? No, you get back here. I really don't have the time. And if you have to, chant. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Even if you know that's going to send them ballistic. I really have to go. Oh, that crazy crap again. Laugh. Laugh. Enjoy what you're watching is the fireworks and explosion of that problem getting blown apart. You should know that. With your practice, you should know that. Just know it. Conviction, confidence. I'm blowing this shit apart. It feels so good. Yes, thank you. Okay. I'll see you whenever, Call me. Let's get together at my house. Keep the Butsudan open. Come on over. Be reasonably careful. I mean, don't be insane with this. But you see what I'm saying? It's all you. You have the power. I could tell you personal stories between me and it's still difficult for me to call him my father. I'm still wrestling with that karma, even though he's gone. He's passed away. Why? Because he still exists in my human perception. And I'm constantly not constantly, but when he comes up in my mind, I still have to resolve my feelings about that karma. And I'm constantly improving, mind you, but the fact that it still comes up time to time, and I hear myself respond like I'm out of body. Why are you thinking that? Why are you putting words and logic to this mess? Why are you emotional? Why are you reacting? While I'm sitting here listening to words come out of my mouth. I'm like, shut up. What are you doing? And I have to just remove myself. And I have to get to laughter. I have to. Otherwise, it's going to ruin my whole day. I have to laugh about it, that it still exists. How ridiculous is that? But don't get mad that it's ridiculous. Just see it. Wow. I got to go to Gohanzan. I've got to go to my mandala and blow this stuff apart. I got to get right. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Earthly desires are enlightenment. Our earthly saha situations are huge flagpoles saying, go to Buddha, go to Buddha. Don't stay here. This is bullcrap. This is delusion. Stop that. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. This is great opportunity to get your mind right. I'm just not sure. I will keep approaching this subject from different angles until I say the thing that triggers for you. I don't know your karma, other than we share humanness. Is it personal stories? Is it personal observations? I think, though, the key is, from my own experience, that we need to feel legitimized. Made up a word again. Legitimated. That's funny. Legitimized. Do you know what I mean? We spend time talking Buddhist talk, and then we're in everyday talk. And the two, sometimes they mesh as we study. Oh, I know what Nichiren means here. Oh, when Shakyamuni said that was brilliant. I connected with that. Those moments are amazing, right? But then we have a bad day for whatever reason. Work, relatives, the car, right? Whatever. And it launches us into a whole different rhetoric, a whole different world. Oh, excuse me. Spring, lovely season, right? Here we go. And so, I don't want any of us to ever feel like our practice of Buddhism is being rammed down our brain hole. Right? This is a wondrous practice. A ridiculously easy one, really. The only hard part about it is convincing our stubborn human mind that it's working. And even with the big examples we have of, wow, my life has changed, wow, things have gotten better, we still lack confidence. What the heck is that about? It can only be about one thing. The nature of our deep karmic attachment to this worldly experience. So that's what we need to modify. That's what we need to accept. Stop saying modify or change. We're not changing anything. It's everything around us that's changing, including ourselves. Constant state of change, right? Moment to moment to moment. So change isn't the problem. The problem is what we're anchoring ourselves to. So, earthly desires are enlightenment is about taking that desperate clinging and saying, well, if you gotta cling to Buddha. Where'd the clinging go? You have to know that when you do that to your consciousness, your existence, your being, that you radiate that condition outward to everything in your universe. Yeah, your universe technically is the same as my universe, but the way you experience the universe, that's yours. And that experience is the one that's getting in the way of the Buddha experience. Yeah. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Damn it. The only thing askew is your confidence about it. The more confident you are, the more you'll see change happening precisely in your consciousnesses. You'll see it, feel it, taste it. And like I'm saying, you may have to dip your toe in the water. You may not be ready to just jump right in. Oh, I know they'll see me like a crazy person. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's what they need to experience in order to finally take something seriously about what you're trying to do. Change your life condition. You can only reverberate through theirs. They don't have to understand. Things will change. You know why? Because things are always changing anyway. We work desperately to make them not change. Permanence. Hold on to. Obsess. Right? Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. That's what that Go show's about. And that's what every Go show's about, if we really think of it. So, I'm going to call this the Q&A discussion. And now that I've expiated some of that out of my consciousness, I'm sure it'll bleed into this next reading of the Go show as we continue the Go show for the 10th video. But I think generally I've gotten my idea out there. Let me know in the comments if any of this touched you, if you have a story to relate or a question. Call me out. Whatever you need to do. I want to hear it. I want us to have this dialogue. This is an incredibly essential moment for our Sangha, for our discussion of Buddhism, our understanding of Shakyamuni and Tendai, original enlightenment, Nichiren. But more to the point, a huge wall of misunderstanding that if we can surmount it, we will profoundly appreciate, be moved by, and motivated to continue in Buddha. Buddha mind, Buddha reality, Buddha suchness. Yeah? I mean, we would do no harm to ourselves to continue to talk about this singular Go show, this singular aspect of our practice for the rest of our days in practice. This is the critical issue. This is what all of these discussions are about, ultimately. Coming at it from here and there and over here and under here. We're constantly trying to break this wall down. Call it the monkey wall, if you will. Okay? Maybe that's what I'll call this Q&A, the monkey wall. Not for clickbait, mind you, but just for some kind of a visual cue, right? Oh, I wish you so much success. I want us all to break through this monkey wall. Especially for that main prize of relationship oneness. Remember when we chant together, Namo Myoho Renge Kyo, we break that monkey wall down immediately. Itai Doshin, many in body, one in mind. And that's wonderful in the scope of our practice. But how do we make that happen in our daily lives with a lot of non-Buddhists or Buddhists who don't know any better? The only way, I'm telling you, is by maintaining that life condition, maintaining that Buddha mind. Don't respond. Or better yet, respond with kindness, laughter, love, appreciation. Don't get involved in the rapids. Sometimes it's going to be painful because you're going to watch your relative or somebody you love embroiled in the rapids, hitting their head on the rocks. But then you have to have the Buddha wisdom to know that's temporary. That's going to change moment to moment. That's suffering. I love you. You don't need to do this. I love you. I deeply appreciate you. That's even sometimes much more powerful than the word love. Love can have a lot of, right, things attached to it. It might be, you may find it very hard for certain situations to say, I appreciate you. It might be hard to get that word out. But if you can convince your heart to say that clearly, clear-eyed, bawl if you have to, let your eyes just tear up, cough it out. I appreciate you. That is so immensely powerful, which is why you may have a real difficulty saying it, or it may come really easily to you. Wow, what a tremendous thing. But that's what we humans need to hear when we're in our samsaric place. Those kinds of words, those sentiments, if they're sincere, what just happened, right? Don't try to prolong it with words and discussions. And you remember that time. Just let it be there. The change is happening. It's always happening. Be awake to it. Be aware of it. Embrace it. Be thankful for it. Right? That is the fullest expression of the value, the meaning, the essence of not just your life, but all life. You're connected in that moment. That's why it's so overwhelming. It's not just you all of a sudden. It's the universe speaking through you. How amazing, and you can't fathom it. Yeah, it's very powerful. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I'm going to end on that. Thank you for listening. Have conviction in your practice. You will be this. Not just know it, but be it. Yeah? I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Thank you for your support. All the YouTube stuff. Thanks. I appreciate you. I really do. Have a great day.